Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Monday Night Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn. And joining me today is my regular co-host, Brushy. How's it going, mate?
Yes, a pleasure to be here as always. Really enjoyed the last couple of streams where, we've just come on here and it's been positive.
Yes, and lots more positivity on this show tonight as well. Even though we lost some penalties in the Community Shield, but I'm not too concerned about that. I thought the performance was really good from United. Lots of positives to take away from that game. We'll start off by talking about that. Then we'll talk about the two new arrivals, and then we'll move on to the Fulham game and predict our starting 11s. So first of all, Community Shield. Um, I thought United started off very slowly against this very young City team. City with a better side the first 30 minutes somehow didn't score. I think McAteer hit the post. Um, and then United grew into the game, and I thought United were by far the better team in the second half, and probably deserved to win the game on the balance of play. United, of course, took the lead with Garnacho coming off the bench to score a brilliant individual goal, and then sadly, the substitute Bernardo Silva equalised with a header at the back post because he was being marked by a winger who was playing right back, and for some reason, Ten Hag decided not to put Harry Hamas on the bench and left us with no defenders at all on the bench. And that probably would have meant that uh, Harry Hamas would have replaced Maguire, and he would have went to left back, and Dallo would have stayed at right back, and maybe would have had a, not that Dallo was the greatest defensively, but he might have a better chance of defending at the back post there against Bernardo Silva. But so United then lost the shootout. It started off pretty well with Onana saving from I can't remember who it was now. Was it Bernardo Silva himself? I think it was. Missed a lot of penalties recently.
I
But
can't
then
remember who it was now, but it was a good save though.
yeah, it was Bernardo Silva. First City penalty. United were doing really well. They were putting the penalties away, and then I think the who was the miss? The first, I know Johnny Evans scooped one over. I think that might have been in sudden death.
Jaden Sancho.
Seen it coming. In
Yeah.
fact, when both Sancho and Johnny Evans stepped up, Sancho because he's missed penalties before and uh, just doesn't fill me full of confidence when he steps up on the spot, and Johnny Evans just because he's such a out and out defender. Really, uh, I didn't have confidence in him scoring, and that also led to United losing on penalties. But the result doesn't matter in the Community Shield like we talked about last week. But the performance, there was lots of positives to take from that, wasn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really know what to expect going into this one, because there were so many players missing from our preseason tour. So this was like the first real glimpse that we got of how it's going to be. And a few people were probably expecting us to get rolled over, and were probably pleasantly surprised at the fight, the determination and grit that we showed. And like you say, we probably should have won on the balance of things. So many chances created, we just couldn't finish. Scotty had a fantastic chance, should have been a tap in. Marcus Rashford, that turn, and I don't know where that shot was going. To not test the keeper from there is horrendous. Um, yeah. So yeah, there was a Garnacho's goal, beautiful. Uh, yeah. So there was a lot of positives to take away from it.
And Garnacho set up Rashford for a one-on-one with the keeper, which he hit the outside
Hmm.
of the post. That really should have been a goal as well. It was not a great afternoon for Rashford in front of goal.
No.
Then there's one in the first half where Ahmad, after a beautiful move involving a 1-2 with Casemiro, rather than shoot, he tried to tee up Mason Mount, and the pass was too far ahead of Mount. Yeah, it really
Yes.
should have been a goal as well.
Now I'll tell you
Um,
what. You see that one, yeah? That's one of those things that can be ironed out during the season, provided the two of them play together more often. Because chemistry is quite an important thing, and the more you get to know your teammates, you know their movements and whatnot. So that's something that can be fixed over time, provided they both get a chance and a decent run in the team.
yeah, but the argument can be made that Ahmad should just went himself there rather than pulling back. You know, it was a bit Arsenal-esque, trying to walk it in, really. Just shoot. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like, what was great was that United were creating so many chances, but not just that. We only conceded 9 shots on goal against Manchester City, and look, that's all we talked about last season was the amount of shots we were conceding in games. 30
Yeah.
against Brentford, and it was just madness.
Hmm.
But it's good to see at both ends of the pitch, with a makeshift back four, that we played so much better. Um, I had to say that Ahmad was unlucky to come off and be replaced by Garnacho. I thought it should have been Rashford to come off because he was having a poor game by his standards, and it comes back to the old senior players tend to stay on the pitch a bit longer, and younger players get brought off, and I'm not a big fan of that. I would rather we take off the poorest performing players and leave on the best performing players, but seniority seems to matter in terms of substitutions involving Ten Hag.
Hmm.
But what's very what's going to be interesting in terms of the next game, right? Garnacho had a fantastic cameo, couldn't have been better. Ahmad played really well for his 57 minutes that he had on the pitch. Rashford was pretty poor in front of goal. These are United's three main wingers at the moment. There's only two spots. Who's going to play? That's been a debate by a lot of fans in the last 5 days or so. I think they'll all play. I think Mason Mount will drop out and Rashford will play through the middle, or else Ahmad will be a false nine or something. I think they'll all play. What do you think?
So the winger spots for me, it's got to be a shoe in for Garnacho and Ahmad. They deserve to start. Up top, I'm not so sure. Obviously, we would like to see a little bit of Xerxes. If that's off the bench for 20 minutes, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, like you say, I can see us going with Rashi up top,
Which Rashi doesn't like very much.
which he doesn't.
Um,
No, but I'll tell you what. 2 seasons ago, that is where he had a very fruitful spell. Uh, so we just have to hope for the best, really.
yeah, and Mount didn't have the greatest game in that Community Shield, so that's why I'm predicting that he will drop out.
Hmm.
But these a starting 11 is usually hard to predict at any point in the season, but the very first game of the season is always the hardest. Um,
Definitely. Especially with us, with obviously, incomings and whatnot, and getting them registered in time and everyone having training and, fitness. So many things going on at the club at the moment.
yeah, it's really hard to know who's match fit, and I think they definitely registered on time, no doubt about that. They
Hmm.
came in. It was all announced last night, which is I think Thursday at noon would have been the deadline. And they're well within that now. It's just a matter of how much of a pre-season did Ligt and Mazraoui have at Bayern Munich. So we'll wait and see on that one. But these are, of course, two more former Ajax players who played under Ten Hag. I think we have an entire 11 now of players who either Dutch or played in Holland. And yeah, that's very, very interesting. Uh, these obviously will not need they won't need coached on Ten Hag's philosophy and the way he wants to play because they'll be very, very used to that. I think now what we'll see is uh, this season we're going to see the closest possible United to that Ten Hag Ajax team. He's got a lot of tools now that he wanted, and we'll see less compromising in terms of United style. We'll see something closer to the way that Ten Hag wants to play now that he's got a lot of the tools that he wants. Would you go along with
Most
that?
definitely. Most definitely. Especially last season. There was that interview where everybody quoted him when he was asked the question and he said, "No, I can't play Ajax football at Man United. I don't have the players for it and whatnot." Well, now you have. So now there's really no excuses there. So we need to see some progress on the field and really how it all comes together. Um, and what Ineos are doing, I quite like how we're moving in the transfer market as well. And they seem to be not only lowering the fees and negotiating good deals, but they seem to be getting their first choice targets.
Yeah, and how brilliant is it seeing Dan Ashworth in the new signing photos rather than Ed Woodward?
It's a refreshing change and a welcome one.
Absolutely. So yeah, you mentioned Xerxes there. Would love to see him in the team. He's a player, very skillful, technical player who drops deep, a bit like a Harry Kane. Obviously, not as experienced or scores as many goals at this moment in his career, but that type of player is what he is. But Ten Hag sometimes, when new players come to England, he beds them in very slowly. Now he did this with Hoyland. He did this even with Casemiro. It was a long time before he started a game.
Definitely, because I remember with Cass, I had my doubts, because I was like, I had PTSD from Donny not being used under Ollie when we signed Donny, um, and then I thought, with how long he was taking with Cass, I was like, is this a Ten Hag signing? Is this a club signing? Has he been forced on him? So yeah, there was a lot of questions initially.
And he says Xerxes needs to get up to speed. Obviously, that's something that's going to happen on the training ground, and then we'd probably see him make a substitute appearance at some point in August, and then hopefully begin to start games after that. But I don't expect him to start this one. I thought we'd see him off the bench in the Community Shield, but we didn't.
Hmm.
But maybe we'll see him in the last 20 minutes of the Fulham game,
Yeah, that's what I'm
particularly
hoping for.
if we're not winning the game. But
Hmm.
hopefully we are. Now, it's fair to say that Casemiro had a much improved performance in the Community Shield. It far exceeded my expectations. In fact, only on one occasion did he go to ground and miss the ball and the man. Now, we usually does that about 4 or 5 times in a game, but only once did he do that. Was involved was involved in that Ahmad Mount chance that I mentioned earlier. You know, he still got a lot to his arsenal in terms of his attacking play. Brilliant at getting forward and linking up, and setting up goals, scoring goals from set pieces, which I mentioned before. But didn't look as ropey defensively, and looks in better shape. Lots of people have been commenting on he looks more trim. At the start of last season, you seen Angelotti when United played Madrid in pre-season friendly, was patting his belly and saying, "Well, you've enjoyed your summer there." But this season, he's made a point of really getting back into his tip-top shape. And he looks like he's got a point to prove. Now, I'm not expecting to see the Casemiro 2 seasons ago, but I think there might be an improvement on last season. What do you think, Brush?
Definitely. I think he would have been listening to some of the criticism coming towards him towards the end of last season, and we know the qualities that he has. He is obviously on the decline due to age and what else, but there is still a player there, a vastly experienced one, and if you can't sell, you might as well use him, right? And he's still a useful player to have around.
Yeah, I would like for him to be our rotational option rather than our first choice number 6. We
Hmm.
obviously still yet to get that person into the door. I don't expect Toby Collier is going to be first choice at this moment in time unless he just explodes onto the scene like Kobe Menu and Garnacho. I expect him to get chances, but not be our first choice. We want to get that Ugarte over the line, or Sander Berg, or whoever, Fofana. We need one of those players in through the door,
Hmm.
preferably Ugarte himself. And if we could do maybe
Preferably Ugarte, and then if money allows, then one of the other two. Because I know Fofana has been speaking to AC Milan, but they've had a bid rejected, and so personal that's been going on for several weeks now. So potentially there's an opportunity there to gazump AC Milan yet again.
yeah, I think maybe not. It might have been more even 20 years ago, but now I think
Hmm.
Man United is far more attractive than AC Milan, um, and will obviously be able to pay a lot more
Which
money
is
than AC
which is
Milan as
a bit
well.
yeah, which is a bit mental as well, considering like they can offer Champions League football.
Yeah, that is very strange. But
Yeah,
hopefully, going forward under Ineos, we'll be in the Champions League every single season. That's something I want to change. Not being in and out like a yo-yo. Hopefully, under
definitely. Like we were spoiled back in the day when it was just we didn't even have to think twice about it, did we? We just knew we were going to be there.
yeah, it wasn't even something that even entered our thought process. We just
No,
assumed
no, we were so spoiled that I just used to look ahead to going, "Oh, wonder if we're going to get Real Madrid this season."
Yeah, even when only two English teams get into the Champions League, we were always
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So it's taken some adjustment.
mm, yeah, far cry from the days of Van Nistelrooy as a player.
Yep.
But he's back again, and hopefully he's going to be part of the coaching setup that brings about our 21st Premier League title and our fourth Champions League. I'm going to be positive. Maybe he might even be the manager for some of that. Who knows what will happen in the next couple of years? But yeah, I'm full positivity again. I was down after the Lenny Yarrow injury, but I'm starting to feel the positive vibes again after that performance in the Community Shield and two more signings coming in, of course.
Yeah, the
Um,
double deal, that's done a lot to lift my spirits as well, just in terms of, what we've got cooking this window.
and even better if they go straight into the team.
Definitely. I'm probably a bit more excited about Ligt than I am Mazraoui. If I'm being perfectly honest, I still have my doubts about Mazraoui. Um, but I think, he'll be like a utility guy, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or two we look to upgrade.
Yeah, I think 100% in the next summer transfer window we're going to
Yeah.
sign a first choice left back without
Yeah,
question.
so it's imperative. Um, At the same time, though, there is a part of me that thinks they might bring in somebody experienced on the cheap and then see how Harry Amas progresses. But I know
Yeah.
he's very young. But I know they think of him very highly as well.
So Shaw is out injured again. Will not play any part at least until after the international break.
Shock, horror. The poor guy, he's just made of biscuits. I used to get this feeling back when we had Eric Bailly.
Yeah, I think this is even worse.
Yeah,
Um,
this is way worse.
and of course the backup left back is just even worse again.
And we don't know what the hell has happened to him. He's been out for a whole year. So yeah, so even back in January of this year, I was quite confused when we gave away Regulon. I thought we could have just done with keeping him. We're in a situation now. I wouldn't mind taking him back if he's available on loan again.
If Malasia doesn't make an appearance this season, he's going to have to his contract's going to have to be terminated at the end of the campaign.
Yeah, yeah, something's got to give. If he's missed 2 whole seasons, then something's seriously wrong there. So that is something for them to look at. But in the meantime, though, I do think it's imperative this window that we get someone who's an out and out left back. I'm not too worried at this stage about the level and quality. I just need to, I just need them to play there predominantly. That has to be the main position. Like, because obviously I know Mazraoui can play everywhere, left, right. I saw him against Arsenal in the Champions League last season, and he was on the left wing. Um, but yeah, predominantly I would like to see him on the right hand side. And I'm not a fan of Dallo on the left either. So it's one of those. I don't want them to just keep switching between the two.
Yeah, United will either if they don't get anyone, then like Shaw, this could be another write-off season for Luke Shaw. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So if we don't get anyone, we're going to have Mazraoui as first choice left back with Harry Amas supplementing him
Hmm.
uh, throughout the season. Or else either that's going to be the case, or we're going to get someone like a Regulon coming back, like a
Yeah.
Marcus
Uh,
Alonso. Marcus
I don't know
Alonso.
how trustworthy the sources are, but yesterday I did read something about Ben Chilwell, and
You see,
I saw the Alonso thing today as well.
my issue with the Chilwell thing is that
Mm.
he has had a lot of injury problems as well.
Yes,
So
he does. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you what. I know last season we were interested in Cucurella. This season they probably want to keep him now after the bloody Euros he's had. Because if there was a loan off deal to be done there, I wouldn't have minded him.
I think we'd have to pay 30 million at this point to get him off
Yeah,
Chelsea.
yeah, yeah. It's not happening. Especially the way we're structuring our deals as well. I think it's evident that money is somewhat tight, and they're trying to make it stretch as much as they can. All these parachute payments and whatnot.
look, if Chilwell comes in, we're going to have a scenario where we're going to have three injured left backs at the same time.
Ay,
Uh,
ay, ay.
it's almost comical. We
Yeah,
just
you
we
couldn't
can't
make it
afford
up,
that.
could you? You couldn't make it up if that were to happen.
No way can we put ourselves in that situation. Um, so it's going to have to be Region, Marcos Alonso, or I don't know. Somebody's, but I'm not a big fan of Region coming back in, n-
Yeah.
not just because he's not the greatest defender in the world,
Hmm.
um, but because Ten Hag wasn't even playing him in the first half of last season.
No,
Uh,
he wasn't. He wasn't really playing him. But then he did impress me in the second half of the season, though, during his spell at Brentford. Because obviously they play with a back five as well, so he got to be a proper wing back, which probably helped him out. And he was getting a lot of attacking returns. He chipped in with a few assists.
we obviously won't play that formation though.
Yeah, we won't play that. Yeah, and well, this is also my concern then if we bring in Alonso, because you remember him at Chelsea, right, where he was pretty much a second winger on the left hand side,
Yeah, he's
and he's 33 now.
is
Um,
he? Is he? Oh wow.
yeah, he's 33 as well. Yeah. Another one. I don't know how likely this is, but Atletico Madrid centre back Hermoso is a free agent. He's predominantly a centre back, but he can play left back as well. I think the main interest there is just the fact that he's a free agent. He's 30 years old on a short term deal. It wouldn't be the worst thing.
We'll have to wait and see what they come up with in terms of the left back situation. We cannot allow that to hamper another season
No,
because
absolutely not. And I just don't want there to be this circus of players who aren't comfortable there having to fill in there. Because that's how we was set up Amrabat for failure last year when he came in and did that silly introverted left back nonsense that he was doing.
and Martinez filled in there
Hmm.
in the Community Shield, and I don't think he was comfortable with it either.
No,
So uh, it's getting to the stage now. We'll just pick anyone who's left-footed. Um, but the last thing I want to see is Lindelof and Amrabat. I know Amrabat's not here as things stand, but I don't want to see Lindelof and Amrabat in that position again, or even Dallo. I don't
yeah.
enjoy that
I
either.
mean, if all goes to plan, fingers crossed. Well, let's hope that the plan is to move Lindy on.
Yes, oh, I hope so. He's been here too long.
Yeah, yeah.
Should never have got that new contract in 2019 when his
Hmm.
agent invented interest from Barcelona and Ed Woodward jumped on it and gave him a new 5-year deal.
Hmm.
Absolute joke. Was totally unnecessary. And if the and Woodward hadn't have done that, we would have seen Lindelof move on by now. Nice guy and all that, but just not good enough to be a Premier League centre half. He's bullied far too easily, and he doesn't have great pace either. And just he, anytime he plays against a traditional big 6'4" number 9, he just
Hmm.
they're licking their lips at that one. Just yeah, I think Maguire's been done for better than him last season, so he's ahead of him in the packing order. So, and obviously we brought in two centre halves this summer, so I think we need to move him on. Uh,
Yeah.
and he is someone that clubs will want. Clubs in Portugal, Turkey. I can see him being you know popular there because he's decent on the ball and all that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I could definitely see there being interest in him.
Mourinho might even be interested in him. Who's at Fenerbahce now. We'll wait and see how that materializes.
Mm.
Um, but so that would leave us with Martinez, Yarrow, Delict, Maguire, and Evans. Um, what's great is that we're starting to build more depth and see if, let's say, Yarrow and Martinez are our first choice. One of them is suspended or injured, then Delict comes in. You're not really dropping in quality there. We're starting.
Yeah, that's a key thing, isn't it? And then also we've reduced the age as well, so we're moving in the right direction. And this is a nice balance now, because obviously Euro is the up and coming talent, and he's the one that everyone's going to be waxing lyrical about. But at the same time, it's going to take time for him to grow and mature in this league. When Arsenal signed William Saliba, as much of a talent as he was, they loaned him out for a couple of years before bringing him in when they thought he was ready. And with Euro, very young. There's a new league. It's going to take time, and so somebody like Delit, with the experience that he has coming in at 25, I would expect him to take to it a lot easier.
And Arsenal arguably now have the best defence in the league.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Last season, I think they did have the best defense in the league statistically in the Premier League. I think they conceded the least amount of goals.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing I wanted to mention about Mazraoui is that he played against Arsenal in the Champions League last season in the left back position, and apparently had a really great game against Bakary Saka. And Bayern Munich won the game 1-0 at the Allianz Arena. When it was a 2-each draw at the Emirates, Mazraoui didn't play in that game. It was Alphonso Davies.
Hmm.
Delict played in both games from the start. So Mazraoui had a really good game against Saka. So not only is he good at man marking if he's asked to do that, but he's quite good at going forward as well, and he can come inside as an
Hmm.
extra midfielder. He done that a lot at Ajax, so we might see that. We might play a lot more than we're anticipating. We you were saying earlier that he'd be a utility man. He could end up being first choice.
This season, I think he'll probably be in the first team. I just meant long term. I don't think he's a signing for the long term. I think within a year or two, we'll look at that when other issues are you know dealt with, and we'll think, yeah, we need an upgrade on this guy.
Yeah, or he move into right back permanently, or
Yeah,
if
yeah, yeah,
if Ten
something
Hag
like
really,
that.
Ten
Yeah.
Hag really fancies him,
Hmm.
which obviously he does.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was quite surprised because obviously when Eric moved here and before he went to Bayern Munich, he left on a free transfer. So at that time, I was thinking, I was like, oh, potentially that could be one of the guys that follows Eric here. But yeah, surprise, surprise. Eventually, he's here.
Eventually, they'll all be here. De Jong will be here eventually as well. Don't worry
I
about
mean,
that.
listen, with him, he's on that death row contract touch at Barcelona, and they owe him a lot of money as well. So that's the thing tying him down. Otherwise, yeah, he's probably looking over actually, thinking, "Oh, well, the boss has got the whole gang back together, except me."
Yeah, if it wasn't for the money that Barcelona owe him, he'd be
Yeah,
here. He'd have been here 2 years ago.
yeah, I think so. I think so. That loyalty bonus and all the rest of it, I think, definitely played a part. And then also, let's also spare a thought for Donny as well, because he can't be happy looking at all of this going on, seeing all the ex Ajax contingent getting together, and he's nowhere to be seen. Just I hope he can really like rebuild his career because it was quite sad the way he fizzled out.
Yeah, and farmed out to Girona for £500,000. Like
Yeah,
he,
up to about 12 million euros in total, I think, but with various add-ons. But yeah,
they're not going to be
such
met.
yeah, such a nominal fee. Yeah, he would have to really be exceptional, I think, for us to get any kind of return on the rest of those
Completely,
add-ons.
completely lost his confidence at United. No
Yeah,
longer,
yeah.
no longer the same player.
Hmm.
Um, some bad news in the comments here. Abdullah says PSG are unlikely to bid for Jadon Sancho. He's not in their current plans. United are still open to selling him. That's from Jason Burt in the Telegraph.
Okay. Yeah, because we
So
were kind of hoping, weren't we, that potentially in these talks for Ugarte, that perhaps there was a solution in which Sancho would be involved. It certainly would have helped lower the
yeah,
fee, and it would have meant wages were cleared as well.
I'm a bad feeling we're going to be saddled with Sancho and Anthony for another season.
Yeah.
Um, if they're- uh, I sent you a video earlier, Brush,
Hmm.
of Ten Hag celebrating Garnacho's goal in the Community Shield, and he turned to celebrate with the person next to him, and then realized it was Sancho, and just hung back a bit. Uh,
Yeah, he looked a bit reserved all of a sudden. I have a
yeah,
feeling if it was somebody else, he might have just hugged them. But yeah, obviously that relationship it wouldn't surprise me if, there's it's obviously been strained.
Definitely, they're just tolerating each other now at this point.
Yeah, yeah, because at the moment, like it doesn't make sense otherwise, does it? You can't let him rot in the reserves, and there was no interest, so you kind of had to draw a line under it and whatnot. But yeah, it will take time. That.
Yeah, and it's great to have football fan zone here. And George is says how hard is it to get a left-footed left back? Only United would struggle to get one of those. So we make another fullback signing, and he's a right-footed player again. But
Yeah,
apparently he's extremely versatile. But that's okay. But I still want someone who's predominantly left-footed. But
yeah, and someone who out and out just plays in the position. The versatility thing is great as a utility player, but when you're relying on that, then you start to see the deficiencies game in, game out.
yeah, it's not ideal. But Luke Shaw is leaving us short again, and I think Shaw turns 30 next summer, so I think we really need to start thinking about life without him. And the see he's had so many injury problems in his 20s. I mean, what's it going to be like when he enters his 30s?
Yeah,
Um,
it's difficult to imagine that he's still only what 29. He's about to turn 29, so
yeah,
it's crazy. The amount of games he's missed as well is absolutely atrocious. I don't know how much more we have to see him this season after season. But in terms of getting rid of him, obviously, as well as I do, it's very difficult. The wages he's on are ridiculous. I think it's around 150. And with the current injury record, there's going to be absolutely no one willing to take a punt on him, even if we
yeah.
were to try and give him away for free.
As well as NES have done in terms of incoming so far, they have found it really difficult to get people off the books, and that's
Hmm.
because of the hand they've been dealt by Ed Woodward.
Exactly. That's not on them. It's just the toxic morons that were running things before, giving bang average players long contracts and exuberant wages. It's obviously going to take time to clear.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I know we've got a decent fee for Greenwood, and we've got a decent fee for Willie Camboala, um, and we got Varane and Martial off the books because their contracts were
Hmm.
up. But other than that, we're really really struggling. Wan-Bissaka, of course, has left the club. Just want to touch on that. I don't think we would have won the League Cup in 23 or the FA Cup this year without him. He's
Mm.
fabulous in both of those games. Um, Being a great one-on-one defender, but just not quite what we're looking for going forward. Doesn't have the skill set there, and I think West
Hmm.
Ham will spend a lot more time defending than Man United. You would hope, so that I think that. And Lopetegui's quite a defensive coach, so I think it'll suit. I think West Ham will really suit him. So
Yeah, so
uh,
do I. Yeah, I wish him the best, man. I didn't have too much bad to say about Wamby. Obviously, I understood his limitations. I actually thought he was quite a useful player to have around because that, would definitely have come in handy at points in the season. At parts of the season where you got to be a bit more pragmatic and you got to keep it compact. He's got a certain skill set that would have come in handy. But obviously, you got
and
to back the manager and the vision and the way in which they want to change the style. So I get it.
yeah, I totally see both points of view. I
Yeah.
50% of Man United fans I know glad to see the back of him.
Hmm.
50% know that he has a certain skill set that a lot of
Yeah.
fullbacks don't nowadays, and is useful in finals when you want to mark someone out of the
Hmm.
game. And yeah, but I can totally see why Ten Hag wants to have uh, a fullback with the skill set that fits into his philosophy.
Yeah. And
Uh,
also the other thing being that he only had a year left on his contract. Apparently, it was also claimed that he was eager to head back to London. Um,
mhm.
so I'm glad that we were able to do a deal and actually get a return. Whereas under previous ownership, I think well, you know what happens. We don't sell. We price people out of moves, and then the players end up running their contracts down and leaving for free. So we recruit 15 million, which pretty much pays for Mazraoui. So yeah, happy days.
Yeah, definitely. But the only caveat with that is that we were told by reliable sources that Glory Whitwell was one of them. Wan-Bissaka received a payoff, which he was due, because at the time that Ed Woodward was the CEO, it was written in the some players' contracts, that if the +1 was triggered in their contract and they were sold while they were in that +1 period, they were entitled to part of the transfer fee.
Yeah,
So
Jesus. Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka got
again,
some of
it
that
just
50.
well, I mean, well, good for him, I guess, but sheer incompetence once again, and the kind of thing that we need to nip in the bud.
Because United would quite often trigger the +1 to get some money for the player rather than let him go for free.
Hmm.
So in some players' contracts, it was negotiated in that the player would get some of the fee, and that's what's happened in this case. I don't know how much, but it's ridiculous. Only at United would a player who's being sold to another club would the player
Yeah.
get a payoff. It's absolutely
Hmm.
absurd. But I'm not blaming Aaron for that. That's what was negotiated into his contract by his agent, and he's entitled to that. I blame Ed Woodward fully for this incompetence.
Absolutely. Same here. I'm never mad at players for, securing their futures by earning as much money as possible, and that it's more on the club.
Um, George here mentions Mendy for midfield, um, but which brings me on to Liverpool. How funny was that they were completely rejected?
The meltdown was epic. The timeline was full of them, just all flipping out. I saw one stream that went on till 3 in the morning because they had like an emergency meeting. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you what, because I told those lot at the time as well, right? And they weren't really listening. Um, it was the Klopp effect. Like without Klopp, they don't have the same pull, and they're going to find that out now.
Yeah, you could be right on that one. It's
Yeah.
very strange for a player he's got the chance to go play for Liverpool, who are expected to challenge for the Premier League title, and he decides to stay at Real
I'll tell you
Sociedad.
what. I'll tell you what, Carl. Would you rather live in Liverpool or San Sebastian? I know where I'd rather
Yeah.
be.
Yes, there is that element to it, but Liverpool will challenge for the highest honours. Real Sociedad will definitely not.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so
But again,
and
though, it's nice to see this. Because finally, like it's all switched around. Where there's only a couple of weeks to go, they're panicking. They don't know who to buy. And even the Zubamendi thing, like it's been talked about for some weeks. So they'll be asking questions at Liverpool, thinking, well, why did we waste time there? Should we not have investigated and found out that the player doesn't want to come to England?
yeah, and so far I don't think they've signed any first team players at all in the
No,
window.
no, they haven't. No.
Yeah, we seen the usual meltdown from that Irish guy was Liverpool. I don't know his name,
Oh,
but
the
I
bald-headed one.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yeah. I've seen him on the timeline.
yeah,
I've seen him clipped up on the timeline,
yeah.
singing the Scooby Doo song. Yeah.
He's so
Oh, it was
cringy.
brilliant. It was brilliant.
It, yeah, he's always on the X up. He's always clipped up on that, and you see,
Uh-huh.
I don't watch the show for obvious reasons, but
Yeah.
you always see him on social media being clipped up and
Hmm.
being mocked and made fun of, and this was another one of those occasions, and rightfully so, because he brings it on himself at times.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Um,
From what little I've seen, yeah, I can understand why that guy gets grief online.
so they're really struggling in the transfer market, but of course, titles are not won in the transfer market. If that was the case, then West Ham would win the Premier League right now. But how
Yeah.
often how often do we see it that or clubs have an amazing window and then have a crap season? So
Hmm.
I wouldn't judge anything off this, but it is embarrassing for them not to make a single sign. Their Liverpool's window is turning into Man United 2013 window.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember when we wasted all that time chasing after Fabregas, only to end up with Fellaini? And we paid more
Mm.
than what we needed to for Fellaini as well because we waited and waited and waited and let his release clause expire. Ended up paying 4 million more than we needed to.
Yeah, and we made our first signing on deadline day and played over
Yeah.
the odds, you know.
Hmm.
And this is what's happened to Liverpool right now. So delighted to see that.
Yep. Yep.
So we have got Fulham coming up in the first Premier League game of the season. Some are saying must win because Ten Hag he's entering a season that no one thought he would get. Uh, he's got a lot of tools now that he wanted. He's got a proper structure backing him. Um, he's only here because he won the FA Cup in the last game of the season in May. Other than that, I don't think he'd be here. He needs a good start to the season. Um, and there's two difficult games coming up after this, away to Brighton and at home to Liverpool. So we really need 3 points on the board here against Fulham, don't we?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's imperative that we get off to a good start. And yeah, what better way than a home fixture against Fulham on the opening day?
I think we've had a few of those over the years. I remember 2006 we thumped them 5-1. I think it was the first game after Rooney and Ronaldo had a bit of a disagreement at the World Cup, shall we say, where you know Ronaldo was accused of getting Rooney sent off, and people weren't sure what way it was going to turn out when they came back to Old Trafford. But they were sensational that day, and United blew Fulham away. We might have played them maybe first game of the season in the early noughties as well. And Van Nistelrooy had a great goal scoring record against them. Of course, scored that individual goal against them in 03.
Hmm.
And he's back in the dugout. So, yeah. But Fulham, they've signed Emile Smith Rowe. I thought that was a really shrewd bit of business for them, bringing in a player like that. Just can't quite get into the Arsenal team because of Odegaard. But he was supposed to be the future of Arsenal. Had his injury problems as well, but I think he's a very good player. Got Pereira there; he's done so well. They
Hmm.
might still bring in McTominay as well. So if they were to have a midfield this season of McTominay, Pereira, and Emile Smith Rowe, that would be fantastic for them. So they beat us at Old Trafford last season, of course. When Hoyland got that injury, and we were still so open in midfield, and they exploited us. Maguire equalised late on, but then they got a late winner, and that was an absolute embarrassment. And it brought to end a great winning run that we were on in January, February. Um, so we'll want to get revenge there and beat Fulham in this game. But I don't think it's going to be really straightforward unless we just come straight out of the traps and Garnacho and Ahmad are on fire and we blow them away in the first 30 minutes. But I think it could be a tricky enough game, but I expect us to get through this one. What do you think, Bush?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a subdued performance. They're going to be up for it as well. I see this one being quite tight. Again, it's going to take a couple of weeks for all our lads to get, really integrated and up to match speed. So I'm just here for a win, really, by any means necessary. So we just need to get over the line. That's how I'm feeling for the first one.
Yeah. Uh, the win's most important thing, but well, I'd love
Yeah.
a performance as well.
Oh, yeah, that would
Um,
be great, but that's like a bonus.
yeah, I want to see us. Um, I love to see a scintillating performance or really entertain the crowd and get everybody excited for the new season. Like that 5-1 in '06. But as you say, the likes of Martinez, Menu, Bruno Fernandes, Dallo, they've only played one preseason game in the build up to this, and that was in the Community Shield. So wouldn't be at their peak fitness at the moment. Um, but yeah, I'm very optimistic about this game, and think that we can definitely get the 3 points. But so assuming that Mazraoui and Ligt are available, I'm going to predict that they both start this game. I think we heard from the reliable journalists that cover United that Ten Hag wanted to get them in this week because he wants them to be part of the squad against Fulham. So uh, I think the team that will start this game, it'll be Onana in goal, um, Dallo at right back. Centre back will be Delict and Martinez. Um, Mazraoui at left back. Then in midfield it'll be Casemiro, Mainu, um, Bruno Fernandes at number 10. Then across the front it'll be Ahmad, Rashford, and Garnacho. What do you think, Rush? Who are you?
Sorry, I just lost a connection there for a second. Could you repeat that, please?
What is your starting 11 for the Fulham game? Who do you think will play?
Starting 11. Who do I think will play? I don't think we're going to see many of the new faces, so it's going to be the same old. The top three, I think either side. I think I'd like to see Garnacho and Ahmad start. I think Rashford will play. Bruno is a shoe in. Kobe, obviously. Cass. And then as for the defense in the first game, I can see it being Maguire and Evans at the back. Uh,
Really?
I can see it being Maguire and Evans. But actually, no, we've got Martinez as fit as well, haven't we? So yeah, so it'll be Martinez and Maguire probably. Um, and then yeah, if there is to be a surprise sprang, it will be in one of the fullback positions. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll throw in Mazraoui straight away.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope that it's either Masrahi or Hariyama as a left back because
Yeah.
I don't want any more makeshift. I don't
Can
want.
you see a situation in which Martinez is the left back? So then Evans and Maguire are centre backs, and then Dallo on the right.
Well, that was the back four in the community shield, so it wouldn't be a complete surprise if it happened again.
Yeah,
But
just for this week, kinda, because I do think it's a bit early for the new lads.
sometimes new lads just get thrown in. I mean, they've been training throughout the pre-season at Bayern. I don't know how many games they played, but um, they should be in reasonable condition. And Ten Hag might want to you want to have the personnel that can play his style of football right from the first game, and
Hmm.
so I won't be surprised if at least one of them starts. So I'm going to back that both of them do, especially with Shaw being injured. Uh, Someone was saying that there was footage on Sky of the two of them arriving at Munich airport, and people were saying, is Maserati limping?" Um, Somebody else said, "I think that's just the way he walks." But yeah, it did look like he was limping, but he wouldn't have he wouldn't have passed the medical if he was limping. I don't think.
Yeah,
So that's my team, and that's your team. I don't want to see Maguire and Evans at the back unless it's absolutely necessary. That's that would be my least favorite partnership. I,
that would
without a doubt, without a doubt.
that
Um,
would. But at the same time, though, when the other defenders get back, I'm not expecting to see much of Johnny. So if you were to get a game, I wouldn't mind if it's early on.
yeah. Hopefully he doesn't play as much as last season because that
No,
was
no. Largely, I would like him to just have League Cup a run. If I'm being honest.
yeah because he is 37 now.
Yeah,
I didn't think he'd be here this season, but
neither did I, to be honest. I actually thought after the FA Cup victory as well that would be the perfect way for him to retire. But hey ho, here we are.
it must have been a Ten Hag decision, wanting
Yeah.
to, because he's aware that centre backs tend to get injured a lot and wanted to have as
Hmm.
much cover as possible. I just wanted to bust a myth that's been talked about on other shows and other podcasts. People have been saying that Delict and Martinez are accustomed to playing together at Ajax. No, they're not.
Mm.
One replaced the other. They never played a competitive game together at Ajax. I thought this is what I always thought, and then I thought, have I got it wrong? So I researched it, and
Because
Delict,
Delit would have left when we signed Harry Maguire. So that would have been what, like 2018, 19, 2019?
yeah. So Delict in the summer of 2019, yeah, he went to
Yeah.
Juve. That's when Martinez arrived at Ajax from
Yeah, yeah.
Argentina.
Because Delit was only 19 when he left.
So I don't know what people are talking about, saying that these two played together at Ajax. But there you go. People just maybe making an assumption there. Um,
Yeah.
but I can very much see them. clicking together as a partnership very quickly, because they both really fit the Ten Hag way. Both play out from the back, and both complement each other well in terms of one's a big guy, one's slightly smaller, um, and yeah, they're progressive ball playing centre backs. And Delict, to tell you what, Delict chips in with a lot of goals for his teams. I think he has 28 career goals already, so don't be surprised if he gets a few headers from corners as well. Um, One thing you have to notice about all their signings in this window, they're all big, tall, young players. So
Hmm.
we're not only improving the age, we're improving the
The
physical strength.
physicality, and that, yeah, something that's been missing for a long time in our squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that I wanted to mention was, I can't believe I forgot about this. The Bruno Fernandes goal that was ruled out in the Community Shield. What an absolute.
What a strike! What an absolute belter that was, and such a shame that it wasn't onside.
Ali McCoist called the offside before the shot was taken, and he was right about it. But such a shame, because that was a world class
Yeah,
finish.
it really
And
was.
and he's just signed a new contract. I think we talked about this
Hmm.
before. He's now on similar wages to Rashford, I think, to reflect his status in the squad. And but he's got 3+1, so he's a contract till June 2027, and United have the option of extending it. So that'll take him up to about 32 and 9 months,
He's
and
he's 30 this September.
September, yeah. But
Yeah.
the contract he'll still be 32 when this contract is up, and that's still,
Mm.
you're coming towards the end of your peak then, I would say, in the modern era at
Hmm.
32, and he's still looking unbelievable. um I
Do
think
we
we're
know
going to,
how much is he? Is he comparatively on what similar to
well,
Rashi?
we weren't given a specific
Yeah.
figure, but what we were told is that it now reflects his status in the squad. It's up there with the high earners,
Hmm.
so it's somewhere in the Rashford Casemiro category, I think. uh which he's every right to ask for, given that he is probably the best player in the team. He's the captain. Why should he be paid significantly less than Casemiro or Rashford? So I can understand why he and his agent would be negotiating that.
Yeah.
Um,
From him and his agent's point of view, I totally understand. I think I would have taken a hard line though as the club. I would have just been like, listen, the only reason those other people are on more money than you is because of the sheer incompetence of those who are running things before. So I need you to just bear with me whilst we try and get reduce their wages.
yeah, absolutely. But they haven't really extended it though. It's still um, they've extended it in the sense that it can run to 2028 if the club decide. But
Yeah. Oh, so it's just an option. They basically just given him a pay increase, haven't they?
yeah, so he's got
Yeah.
three
Because I
years
thought he was
left.
on like two. Yeah, because I thought he was on about 240 before. And I thought that was fair, to be honest.
So his initial contract runs till 27, but the club can decide if they want to extend it by another year. And obviously, we'll see
Hmm.
where he is. We'll see where he is at that moment in time, and then we'll make the decision. But at the
Definitely.
moment, I'm expecting a big season from him. I think he's going to be
Hmm.
on top form, and looks it already. I mean,
If
that was
we're
his
to
first.
have a good season, then he's going to play a big part in that. He will be one of the keys.
Yeah, that was his first game of pre-season, the Community Shield, and looked like he'd been playing all summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very optimistic,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
could
another thing I'm looking forward to, Carl. Depending on once Xerxes gets in there, you mentioned that he likes to drop in and whatnot as well. So if he drops in, can you see a scenario in which Bruno bombs forward and gets into the box a bit more?
yeah, yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, people
Yeah, so
people have been
that'll
talking
be
about that
quite
already,
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
because
that'll be real interesting.
Xerxes likes to drop deep, so that would
Hmm.
give Bruno the chance to go
Yep.
into the number 9 position, so
Yeah, and you
they can.
saw a couple of seasons ago when we started when we started against Leeds, and we absolutely destroyed them, and Bruno was just bombing forward. Um, it was almost like a shadow
And
striker.
Now, which Leeds massacre was this? There was a few of them now.
Yeah, I've been a few, which is why I had to say the opening day one, the day, yeah, the opening day of the season one. That was lovely,
So the
lovely stuff.
5-1 rather than the six
Yeah,
two.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was lovely stuff. Because that day, Bruno, yeah, he was almost a shadow striker that day. Oh,
Yeah, I always
devastating.
believed that he could play as a shadow striker, and
Hmm.
he's effectively our Wayne Rooney of this era, isn't he?
Kind of.
From the
I mean,
looks
there's
of it.
only one Rooney, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he's definitely the talisman,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Selfless as well, because wherever he's asked to play, he just gets on with it.
yeah, yeah, can easily play deeper in midfield as well.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got the passing range to do that if required. Um, so, what is your prediction for the Fulham game?
Oh, do you know what? Dare I go for a clean sheet? That's the thing. I'm, I'm, I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm gonna go 2-1 to United. I really want us to have a clean sheet as well, though. But I don't know if I'm asking too much, especially because I saw an interview with Anana where he said he's going to take more risks this season. Um, yeah.
If we're playing Maguire and Evans, I think we will concede. If we're
Hmm.
playing more of a first choice back
Mm.
four, I think we've a
Hmm.
better chance of keeping a clean sheet. But I'm going to be bolder and go for 3-1.
Oh,
Um,
nice,
I think
nice.
I think Garnacho and Ahmad are really going to turn it on in this game, and I
Mm.
think we're going to score early and get a couple more. So yeah, I'm going to go for 3-1. That's my prediction. But hopefully it's more than that. Hopefully it's like 0-6 again, and we just blow them away. I wanted to ask you about so all the new kits have been released. Which one is your favorite?
You know what? This year I'm really happy with most of them. The third one, it's starting to grow on me. It's starting to grow on me. Um, but it looked a bit lazy when I first saw it. Like they've just splashed the flag across it. But it's starting to grow on me. The home and away kits I really like. The away one especially stands out this year.
The
Initially
blue
when I
one,
saw,
yeah.
yeah, the blue one. Initially when I saw the pictures, it looked more like a cricket kit than a footballing one. But seeing it in person, it looks really nice. It's quite smart that with the silver as well. It really shines. So that's probably my favorite one out of the lot.
Probably the first time in years I'm not really sure which one to buy. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those where I think even the one that I'm unsure on, I'll just wait till it comes on sale and pick it up.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll probably end up having all three actually. And I could say that for the first time in ages. And I think,
yeah.
luckily for a lot of our fans as well, with the way things being run now, they'll have no qualms about spending money in the actual megastore and don't have to run around looking for alternatives.
Possibly, but some people will acknowledge the fact
Mm,
that the Glazers are still there
hmm.
as part owners. So I don't think we'll see a full return to the Megastore until the Glazers are
Yeah, until
completely
they're
gone.
completely gone. Yeah, a few years left for that, isn't there?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, the white one's very nice as well with
yeah, yeah.
the red and black stripes at the
Hmm.
top, and then it has just the devil
Very
alone as the
simplistic.
badge.
Yeah, very simplistic badge. I've noticed they've done that with other teams as well. I saw the Juventus one, and that was very nice. I like the color scheme of that their one. I was like, oh, hopefully one day they give us one of these.
And they have a real retro Adidas symbol as well on the
That
kit there,
yes, yes. I saw a tracksuit top today actually, which was proper old school, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice.
like 1980s Adidas,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. The 80s vibe. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
And
nice
yeah,
little
what did you
commercial to
make
go
of?
with it.
Yeah, was it the Hollywood actor Barry Keenan? The guy's going to be playing the Joker in the new Batman film, and he's been in the Dunkirk and the Banshees of
Hmm.
Inisherin and all these. He's in the TV show Love Hate. He did a promo for United, and that he does with the release of the third kit there. It's seen. Um,
And last year's promo was with Roy.
it was, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that white one had just the devil as the badge as well, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was quite a nice one as well, actually. I could be a bit biased there as well because as soon as I saw Roy in it,
Yeah, a lot of fans probably wanted to bet just because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Smart marketing.
it seemed to like they're using Irish former players or fans in these promos. Adidas for some reason, but he must be. I'm assuming he must be a Manchester United fan.
Must
Otherwise, I
be.
don't think he wouldn't be signing up to doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so another side point I wanted to mention was the the goalkeeper kit, the black one of Onana. What do you make of that one? It's very unusual, isn't it?
I like it a lot better than the other one. I do like that black one. The other one, I don't know. I don't like the green.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm not keen on the
Yeah,
green one,
yeah, yeah. The
but the
black
black one
one's
looks
nice.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually our away kit is black, but we never see
Mhm.
a goalkeep. You never see a goalkeeping kit being black, as far as
Yeah,
I can
I don't
remember,
really,
anyway.
I don't really remember a black one on since the days of Fabian Barthez. Maybe Tim Howard.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
That was
Barthez had a black one, and then Tim
yeah,
Howard, Roy Carroll era, we had one that was pretty much black. And that
yeah.
was probably the last time.
That's the Vodafone era,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where
Vodafone
where,
era, that. Yeah.
where
And as
no,
for the green, I would have preferred it if they did a throwback to Schmeichel and went for a purple scheme. Hopefully, they'll save that for next year.
yeah, 90 Schmeichel, yeah, the purple one.
Yeah, the purple one's iconic.
Yeah, that black Vodafone one talking about where Nike was the kit
Hmm.
maker. I think we seen not only Barthez and Tim Howard in that, we seen Ricardo in that one as well. Think remember
Oh,
him?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was only here for a couple of games. He was not very long, was he? He was there for. Um,
No,
yeah,
I remember having that one as a kid. Yeah, that
yeah.
kid. Um,
You
he
also
look,
just randomly gave me a flashback of Andy Gorham. R.I.P. R.I.P. I remember we signed him on loan for a short period of time.
yeah, I think that's when Walter Smith was the assistant manager,
Uh
and
huh.
he had him at Rangers, I think, as his goalkeeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, he has passed away now. Yeah, we had two black ones in that era.
Hmm.
There was one with a bit of a silver trim to it, and then there was just a plain black one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, first black goalkeeper tap in a very long time
Hmm.
then,
But yeah,
and
this is the best set of kits we've had in a long time.
yeah, and yeah, the green one is a bit strange. It's a
Yeah,
bit,
that's the only one. That's the only one
yeah,
really
yeah, it's a
that
bit out there. Like,
lets it down. Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully there's a science behind it because I remember back in the day, when Petr Cech used to get these weird luminous colors. Apparently, they did it intentionally because it used to put strikers off. So let's hope people freak out when they see Onana in that disgusting green.
hopefully, but Holland was not intimidated by Onana's antics.
No, no, his antics. Yeah, what do you make of his antics?
Quite eccentric, is the way I would describe it.
Very, very much so. I mean, yeah, I know Bartes used to do some similar stuff, but yeah, Onana's mind games. I don't know, man. I don't know. He needs to work on it a little bit because, yeah, 'cause, what
Mm,
I was baffled by was why he then dived the other way.
yeah, he probably thought he was going to try reverse
Yeah,
psychology on Holland, but
yeah, but then do you know how much of the pitch you got? Of the goal you got to cover to dive the other way? It just doesn't
yeah,
make sense. If you're going to
yeah,
commit to it, then dive the right way. Ah,
it was odd, and Holland just laughed at him really when he scored. So,
yeah, yeah,
um, so George here says same as you. He thinks United win
yeah.
2-1 against Fulham, but I'm being bolder and going for 3-1. Um, but just on goalkeepers, David De Gea finally got a new club, Fiorentina.
He did. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, I'm very pleased for him. And I think he came out and said as well that he didn't really think about retirement or anything. He just kind of needed some time to himself to reflect and also to choose the next destination because, after 12 years at a club, he just needed a bit of time, which is fair enough.
And this is purely about playing football because he is on a fraction of the wages that he was on at Manchester
Yeah,
United.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This is love of the game. Yeah, he gets to go and love Florence as well. It's a lovely place. So yeah, surely you'll have a great time there.
Absolutely, I
One
don't.
year with an option of a second, I think. So I think the club have the option. So if he does well, then yeah, he could end up staying there.
I don't think his famous wife will have any complaints about living in Italy or spending time in Italy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, probably not.
Um, so we shall leave it there. And just before I do, I just want to ask you this. It's not really a Manchester United issue, but
Hmm.
did you see the video of Vincent Company that was released? It was the promo for that Sky documentary on Burnley's la, season from last year. Um, it was Goodmanson, I think. He's been an absolute arsehole to him on the training ground,
Hmm.
swearing in his face, and you're like, it just seemed very, very performative, as if he was
Mm.
aware that the cameras were rolling, and you're like, you just seem like a complete arsehole, mate.
Really,
Just
I haven't
so over
seen
the
it.
top.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to check that out. Were the players aware? Or do we not know if they were aware or not they were being filmed?
Uh, I would assume they were all aware of being filmed.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the way Amazon and Netflix have
Oh,
done
the
done?
way the Tottenham one worked with Jose and how the Arteta one worked with Arsenal.
Yeah.
One of those. All right.
Well, Sky did one with Burnley,
Yeah.
and it's being
Okay.
released soon. They released a promo there yesterday, and it
I'll
was
tell you what, it
of
would be an
Company
interesting
absolutely
watch
going.
because it would be an interesting watch just to understand what the hell Bayern Munich saw in Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, but he was going absolutely berserk. It's
Yeah.
Goodman's son, I think it was, and uh, it was so over the top and performative. I didn't like it at all. I was
Hmm.
borderline bullying actually, and yeah, it made me think that Ligt and Mazraoui have had a lucky escape because this guy is just an absolute dick. Um, but it's but because he's such a Man City guy,
Yeah.
you will find any reason to dislike him, and if he's given us one, and we're going to jump on it. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of that at all. Check it out yourself once we get off air here.
Yeah, yeah, I'll
You will
definitely
not
have
be
to give that
impressed.
a watch. Yeah, I'll have to give that a watch. But yeah, the next time we speak, hopefully, we can celebrate Ugarte.
Yeah, with every passing podcast, there seems to be new signings, so hopefully that's the next one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And
he's
it's also
definitely our
nice to
first
have a bit
choice.
of hope now, Carl. Where I'll tell you what, even if that one doesn't work out, I don't think we're too fussed because we know that there'll be a plan B.
Yeah, that's because we have football people making football decisions. Who would have thought it?
Exactly. Who would have thought?
So please, everybody, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and get more of your thoughts in, and I will reply to those. Uh, and Brush, I shall see you again in sometime in August.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'll see you later.
Take care, folks.